It's March 27th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today. In this show, we're going to talk about the strategy statistics, what they actually mean. We'll also be talking about strike and strife, how those are really ramping up. Also, the MSTR refinery, you've heard about it. Let's really do a deep dive. Plus, we have some epic Michael Saylor video clips, and I do a little bit of a deep dive into Michael Saylor's keynote presentation at Strategy World, and oh so much more. And this video is not financial advice. A big thank you to everybody who is continuing to comment. Thank you. I see your comments. They mean a lot. Listen, it worked last week, so let's do it this week. Let's comment ATH in the comment section below because we're going to get to a new all-time high this week. I feel it. I hope you feel it too. Let's do it together. ATH, all-time high. Let's go. All right, we're going to start today off with Chris's post about how, with a total of 580,250 Bitcoin, Strategy now owns 2.76% of the total Bitcoin supply and is 58.02% of the way to one Nakamoto. For every $1,000 of Bitcoin increases, Strategy's balance sheet increases by $580 million. So here's the total Bitcoin treasury. Here's the total of the total supply, 2.76. Here we go, of the way to one Nakamoto. That's 1 million Bitcoin, 58%. The average price point was $69,979. The Bitcoin yield achieved to date is 16.8%. And again, that $580 million for every $1,000 move up in Bitcoin is absolutely outstanding. I love this post from Brian, who's talking about strike and strife. The ATM, listen, ATM is happening. It is always going to happen. Strike and strife were introduced to add torque to Michael Saylor's ability to go ahead and tap even more ATMs. So last week he did 348 million on the MSTR ATM, 67.9 million on the strike ATM, and 10.4 million on the strife ATM. I really hope that Michael Saylor hit the ATM when I did my big buy on Strife. So that would be something, just a double win, an absolute double win. So Brian says, good to see the preferreds ramping up. The Strife ATM was active at most 2 days last week. So this week, the number will likely be much higher. I mean, man, if you're sitting in cash like I was on some level, Strife was pretty appealing. Jess says the rate of change for strike and strife is, and then rocket ship, torque it up. And this is on Jason's post about congrats to Saylor. MSTR strike and strife now account for 18.34% of ATM proceeds this week, up from just 7.8% in a week. That surge alone could lift the MNAV by over 5%. At this pace, Strike and Strife will overtake common stock issuance by July. Strike is already the hottest fixed income product on the markets. Strife is next. Let's go. Ben Workman jumped in here as well. 15.9% Strike, 2.4% for Strife, and 81.7% for MSTR. The mix is progressing nicely. Always a good day to buy Bitcoin. Abso-flippin'-lutely. And then this poster, Jane, has the Strike and Strife ATM proceeds are climbing weekly. The preferred equity engine is in motion. You can see where we started back on March 17th and how it's just going up nicely. Now you've got the green line in here for Strife. So we're going to start having 2 lines in here as well. Very exciting stuff. It is proceeding nicely for sure. This is a long post by Chris about Bitcoin refinery that Strategy is embarking upon, that strategy. So strap in. This is a great post. Almost everyone has heard Strategy being described as a Bitcoin refinery. Almost no one truly understands what that actually means and the implications. So let me explain. Firstly, what is a refinery? A refinery takes raw inputs and converts them into useful outputs. In doing so, it unlocks the utility of a resource and increases its value. One of the best examples is Standard Oil. Standard Oil extracted crude oil and refined it into more useful products like petroleum, heating oil, diesel, jet fuel, and gasoline. Why was that so important? Without being refined, crude oil remained largely unusable in its natural states. So by refining it, Standard Oil essentially unlocked the potential of crude oil and maximized its usefulness, making it far more practical and versatile for consumers and industries. So how does this relate to Strategy? Well, different investors want different levels of exposure to Bitcoin. So what does Strategy do? It securitizes Bitcoin by converting it into a range of different financial products that appeal to different investors based on their volatility, risk, and return goals. Investors want income that will buy a product like Strife. Investors want downside protection that will buy a convertible bond. Investors that are comfortable with the volatility of MSTR stock will buy the equity. Investors that want even more leverage will buy one of the leverage ETFs like MSTU. Investors that want to maximize their returns will trade options. Why does all this matter? It all matters because by securitizing Bitcoin, Strategy makes it more accessible to investors. And in doing so, it attracts capital that would otherwise wouldn't flow into the asset. So what are the implications of all this for Strategy? In a word, huge. And we can use Standard Oil again as a comparison to emphasize why. Firstly, Standard Oil maximized the use of crude oil by converting it into products that were tailored to the needs of consumers. In the same way, Strategy is maximizing the use of Bitcoin by converting it into products that are tailored to the needs of investors. Secondly, crude oil fueled and reinforced the success of Standard Oil. What do I mean by that? Well, the more useful Standard Oil made crude oil, the more crude oil became indispensable part of the energy economy, the more demand there was for crude oil, which created a flywheel. In the same way, Bitcoin fuels and reinforces the success of Strategy. The more useful Strategy makes Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin becomes indispensable part of the financial economy, and the more demand there will be for Bitcoin, which again creates an incredibly powerful flywheel. Third and finally, this is essentially the bottom line. By having the vision to recognize the value of crude oil before everyone else, John Rockefeller was able to transform Standard Oil into the most valuable company in the world. In the same way, by having the vision to recognize the value of Bitcoin before everyone else, Michael Saylor is on course to transform Strategy into the most valuable company in the world. In summary, Strategy creates financial products that attract different types of investors that are seeking Bitcoin exposure. 2, investors deploy capital into those products. 3, Strategy then takes that capital and converts it into Bitcoin, which embeds Bitcoin deeper into the financial system, creates more demand for Bitcoin, and the cycle repeats. When you invest in Strategy, you're not just investing in Bitcoin, you're investing in the infrastructure that delivers it to the world. And so here we go with the two graphics, which are so great. The inputs of crude oil at a low temp and a high temp gives you petroleum, heating oil, diesel, jet fuel, gasoline. The input of raw Bitcoin at a low level gives you dividends, strife. At a high level gives you options. And then going down that chain, leverage ETFs, equity, and convertible bonds. It is such a great analogy. I loved it from the moment I heard it on the Q3 earnings report. It's what made me a Strategy believer. This is definitely what made me launch this show back in October of 2024. So love this. Thanks for the breakdown, Chris. And we have some great and epic videos of Michael Saylor. So let's dive on in.
What's MicroStrategy worth today? What's the number? 74 billion? Whatever the number was, right? Can you look up MicroStrategy market cap? I'm just curious. Okay, $73 billion today. If you're saying 0.1% today, it's going to go to 7%. That's 700x, right? So if it's 90,000 today, if I do 13 million divided by 90,000, you're expecting to 144x MicroStrategy in 21 years. If I do 144 times 73 billion, you're estimating to be a $10.5 trillion company in 21 years. Is that correct? Give or take.
Yeah, I guess with that math, yeah. Bitcoin goes from 90,000 to 13 million. So multiply 13 divided by 90,000, it gets you to a big number. Now God comes down from heaven above and God says, okay, I've decided to solve your problem. I'm going to run a bank in heaven. I'm going to issue 21 million God coins, and they're infinitely dividable. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this for you for just about nothing. And you can telepathically move the coins between each other to pay off your debts. And I'm going to make sure that no bank, no government, no counterparty, no country, no criminal takes your money away from you. And I promise never to inflate it. I'm just going to, so there's your money. There's your bank. It's a bank in heaven. Right. And a person can hold a gun to your head, but you've got the money in your head, and the angels will, protect you. They might murder you, but they're not getting your money. So if I thought about that, I'm thinking, okay, God is going to run an honest bank for me. Okay, good. That's probably good. But in the absence of God offering to run the bank, and protect your property rights forever from everybody, the next best idea is we create a piece of software using cryptography, and then the software instantiates in the protocol 21 million coins subdividable by 100 million, so 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. Effectively enough. You could subdivide it more if you needed to. We create that system, and now you can send 1,000, 100, a million, a billion, 10 billion, $100 billion worth of that from anybody to anybody without asking anybody's permission using a computer. You can hold $1 million in your head, $1 billion in your head. You can hold it in your hand. If you know you're going to get arrested, you can just zap it to your sister in Singapore. If you don't trust the bank in New York, you can put it with the bank in London, right? And if you don't trust any bank, you self-custody.
So check it out. I know we're all looking to stack more Bitcoin and MSTR, and to do that, we need more fiat. So let's chat about our sponsor, ShipStation. We all know the market can seem pretty chaotic at times, but if you're in charge of order fulfillment for your business, you already understand chaos. While we might not be able to help calm the chaos in the market, ShipStation is here to help when it comes to shipping and fulfillment. I've used ShipStation to easily automate shipping to customers around the globe. My favorite part about the platform, managing orders in one simple dashboard makes an otherwise massive task feel pretty darn simple. Plus, ShipStation not only integrates with the services and selling channels you already use, it's also the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers. ShipStation hooks you up with discounts up to 88% off UPS, DHL Express, and USPS rates, and up to 90% off FedEx rates. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/MSTR to sign up for your free trial, or click the pinned comment below this video. That's shipstation.com/MSTR. And thank you for supporting our sponsors that allow myself and my team to continue to produce these daily videos for you for free. Now back to the show. Online shopping has never been easier, but this ease is new enough that we remember a time when entering all our credit card info every time we purchased something online was the norm. Luckily, we don't have to do that anymore thanks to Shopify. That's right, that purple Shop Pay button that makes it seamless to purchase online is powered by Shopify. And Shopify doesn't just make it easy to buy, it makes it incredibly easy to start a business, no matter your experience. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US, and they make it super easy to get up and running with beautiful, ready-to-go templates and built-in marketing and email tools. Worried about tracking inventory, payments, and analytics? No stress. Shopify helps you manage it all from a single dashboard. And back to that iconic purple Shop Pay button, it's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/MSTR. Go to shopify.com/MSTR, shopify.com/MSTR.
96% of the S&P companies are underperforming the Mag 7. 96%. 68% can't beat the index. Bitcoin is for the rest of us. It's for the 96%. If you're not Apple, if you're not Google, if you're not Microsoft, then you need to come up with a strategy. And as you can see, it's probably not going to be working harder. Here's a distribution of those companies based on market cap. The average S&P company, $35 billion market cap. The Magnificent Seven, $2.4 billion. So they're not quite 100 times bigger. You got 7 companies that are 100 times bigger. You've got all these other quote unquote big successful companies. They're at 1 to 2% of the size of the winners. This is liquidity, and so if you're looking at liquidity as a percentage of market cap, what you can see is that the average is 1%. So 1% of your market cap is liquid every single day. Our company, of course, off the chart, 7%. Here's volatility. Well, business school teaches you volatility is a bad thing. And so everybody's sent out of business school with a mission to strip the volatility from the balance sheet and then spend their entire life stripping the volatility from the P&L. And you could almost say they succeed. I mean, they've done a pretty good job. Look how many have volatility less than the S&P index. You know, by the way, who has more volatility than the S&P index? Every rich person you admire. Every wealthy person in the world has volatility more than the S&P index because they didn't strip the volatility from their balance sheet. Bernard Arnault and Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, the people that we're supposed to aspire to, have massive volatility. And yet these great, well-run companies in the world are going out of their way to strip their volatility. The number one way to strip your volatility away, by the way, is give away all your money. Like, if you want to strip the volatility from your family's balance sheet, give all of your family's wealth to charity. If you want to strip the volatility off of a company, then you take all of the capital, all the cash flow of the company, and you either buy back the stock or dividend it out or give it to somebody else. And it works. But again, the idea, it's kind of, you almost can't make this stuff up, right? When you present it that way, it's I have a strategy. If I just give away all my wealth, I don't have to worry about losing it. Think about that.
And there you have it, another episode of MSTR Today. And wow, we got a short trading week this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll see how MSTR trades. But as you know, we want to hold the line. So let's hold the line. We have 34 days until we have the Q2 officially closes. And once that officially closes, if Bitcoin is above $97,000, MSTR will qualify for the S&P 500. So right there, you see our green line. We're somewhere right now, as of me recording this, above 109,000. Not quite at 110, but we're at 109. This red line is where we get to hold the line at of 97K. So got a nice little buffer here, but we want to hold this line because bewilderment will reign upon Wall Street. TradFi has no idea what's coming when Bitcoin closes above $97,000, either this quarter, next quarter, or a future quarter. Who knows when it happens? But when it happens, Michael Saylor's strategy is going to come to fruition because guess what? We're going to have positive income over the past 4 quarters, all summed up. And that's what we need for the last check mark for the S&P 500. So let's do this. And as Michael Saylor says, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.